Before I start talking about the journey, I have to explain it to you. As you are aware that I came from Hungary, and if you wouldn't know that, you would immediately know it from my accent, which I haven't lost it yet. And what I want to say, in Hungary we lived in a comparatively peace right until 1944. Hungary was an island. We knew already all Europe, occupied Europe, was burning. Austria, Czechoslovakia, France, Poland, Ukraine was all occupied by the Germans, and they have dealt with the Jews, which we knew about it, that they are terrible, because refugees came over from Poland and Slovakia right from the beginning of the outbreak of the war. But as far as we were concerned, Hungarian Jews lived in comparative freedom. We had our business. My parents had their business right until the Hitler marched in March 1944. The only thing, the people who were in military age, as Hungary was at war against the Russians, so were taken in, they were not trusted to be the ordinary soldiers to fight alongside the Hungarians, so they were in labor service. Now the labor service, those who were in Hungary, who were stationed in Hungary in different, within the Hungarian army, they were quite well off. Those who were taken to the Russian front, which was not under any civilian authorities of Hungary, they very few came back from there. They were taken there just to kill them, and they after long suffering, they undergone a lot of suffering before they were died out of starvation or frost, or simply they were just killed by the Hungarian soldiers and the Germans. At home, we were all right. Everything was all right. In fact, by 1943, towards the end of 1943, we knew already that Hitler is losing the war, because they were already after Stalingrad, and we were just waiting while we were in ghetto. We were waiting for the invasion, because already newspapers came out. I remember every day we had the newspapers. That was not in the ghetto shop. We were in our houses still. And there was invasions, that was always, and I said, oh, I wish they would arrive here. But it was too late for us. As soon as Hungary wanted to get out of the war, Horthy, he didn't like the Jews, but he resisted the Germans to hand the old Hungarian Jewry to them. But once Hitler occupied Hungary, he was sidelined, Horthy, and he had to appoint an anti-Semitic government, and in administrative way, all the Jews has to be the Jewish communities has been disbanded. In every locality has been appointed a Judenrat, Jewish council, and they have to take first of all all the shops and assets of the communities were confiscated. Shops had to be closed down. You are not allowed to go in the shop anymore. And within about 3 weeks, the occupation of Hungary took place just after Purim. Now remember, Purim, we were so happy because we knew that the war is and the government in Hungary was a sort of played already, negotiated with the Allies for separate peace, and we knew that we are going to be saved. We are not going to share the fate of the rest of European Jewry. Unfortunately, Hitler occupied Hungary and were put into the ghettos, and yellow stars has been put on. 19th of March was the occupation. On by the 5th of April, everybody over 6 age has to wear a yellow star, and the Jews has to be, even in a small place where I come from, they had to be the Jewish houses. On the main road were most of them Jewish houses, and families from the outlying areas, they had to move in together. One family has to take in another one or two families, which, all right, we still had every Shabbos, we had still there normal food and everything, but we were just hoping we're going to stay like that. In the 18th of June, We didn't know about by that time that in the eastern part of Hungary the deportation was going in full force. They were put in the ghettos, some places most horrible than others, in open air they were, and they were packed in the trains and they were taken away. And then we said, oh, that's because they are near the Russian front, and but we in western part of Hungary will be safe. Always had try to find some hope, because if you lose hope, then we always say that something is going to happen. It will be all right. On the 18th of June, we were knocked up in the morning. We knew that they are coming for us. That was on a Sunday, and on Shabbos we noticed it, that there is gendarmes came into the town, not the local gendarme, because their policy was different areas, different Hungarian, because the people who were the local gendarme, we were most of them were very friendly with them. We lived very well with the guy in Hungary. So we are put into the trains. We are taken to Sopron. Sopron is the nearest town. It's right on the Austrian border. And we are put into they said we can only take as much luggage as we can carry, and before they took us away to Sopron, they had to undergo search, because jewelry, money, cash, you are not allowed to take. So everything has been confiscated, and we were taken to Sopron in a ghetto, which was already very primitive. It was common kitchen was made for the people of the ghetto. They cooked there in common food, and we knew that we are not going to stay here too long, because it was everything very temporary. Not everybody was even undercover. It was a brick field where they make bricks. So there were some buildings also were lucky they had some undercover, but there were some people who just stayed on the outside. It was not so terrible because it was summer, middle of the summer. We are put in the trains on the 5th of July. I've been put in the train after the train journey, which has been already explained, with the two, one water and one for your needs. And we were just sitting on our luggage, and we knew that something terrible is going to happen to us. Once we realized that the train is going back to Budapest, and from Budapest is going up north through Košice, and crossing the Slovakian border, and then later on they cross the Polish border and they turn left again, and on the 8th of July, which was Shabbos, happened to be Shivos of Tammuz, Nitchat, and we arrived. I remember as a child, I saw from the little window which was on the wagon, I could see the name Krakow. Novi Sands, that was Sands. We passed through, and Krakow. I remember Friday evening we were in Krakow, and the train was shouting here and there. And on Shabbos morning we arrived, and then they opened up the doors of the wagons. Arouse, all shouting quickly, asked, leave everything here, you don't have to worry about it, it will be distributed later, just as you are. Go and stand there, and they were organizing us. There was a lot of helpers. They were wearing striped Häftling, blue and white striped clothes. What the prisoner's uniform. Prison, Häftling is a prisoner, and I know when I came my turn that people has to be stand in lines per 5, men and women separately. Children were going with their mothers, and boys and grown-up men should sit separately. So my younger brother, who was 11, and he was just, I remember I said, who should I get? I said, well, you go with mommy, because you are a child. I'm a brother, big boy, I'm 14, so I'm going with the men. So and that was the last time I saw my mother and my younger brother. My sister also went with my mother. She survived. She went through Auschwitz and she survived. As far as I was standing in front of Mengele, once we were taken off in the train, and Mengele looks at me. My brother was 16 and a half, he was much taller than me. My father was in his 50s. And Mengele looked at me and asked me, "How old bist du? How old are you?" I said, with a smile. He was a very smart, good-looking German officer. No, not hitting, not anything. He had just a little button in his hand. He was just directing people to left or to the right. And I said to him, yeah, I spoke a bit of German, Yiddish. So I said, I'm 14 Jahre. Jetzt war mein Geburtstag. Just to, I had my birthday just on the day when we went on the trains on the 5th of July. So he gave me a big smile. Geburtstag, sehr gut, sehr gut. He says, you go with your brother. My father also wanted to follow it. I said, no, you go this way. So that was it. We were taken into the... What happened to those people who was sent on the wrong side? It has been, it's well known. I don't have to particularize it. What happened to them? You know all about it. Has been explained to you much better. And I also didn't know myself. I only know from others what I later on I found out. We were sent into a shower.
Stop there and let's pick it up in the sides.
All right, that's the way you wish. You are the